Humans? Pathetic. Send your message. They'll surrender or burn by dawn. General Kanos's command reverberated through the massive war hall of the Imperial dreadnought Oblivion's Wrath. The hulking Bravlex warrior, his scales glinting beneath the ship's crimson lights, grinned at the murmurs of agreement from the Empire's council. To him, humanity was a minor inconvenience, a primitive species clinging to a backwater world with outdated technology. This would be another swift conquest, a footnote in the Empire's history of dominion. The holographic envoy from Earth flickered before Kanos's throne, his voice steady despite the warlord's looming presence. The Terran Accord formally rejects your ultimatum. If war is what you bring, know this. We don't fight like you expect. Laughter filled the hall. Kanos leaned forward, his serrated grin filled with malice. Fight? You won't even get the chance. He gestured sharply, cutting the transmission. As the hologram faded, Kanos turned to his advisors. Mobilize the fleets. Make an example of this insolence. Show them what happens when they defy the Empire. In the dimly lit operations room of the Terran Defense Council, Captain Logan Hayes leaned back in his chair, his sharp blue eyes scanning the briefing screen. Unlike Kanos's flamboyant displays of power, Logan embodied quiet intensity. His grizzled jawline and hardened demeanor told a story of countless battles, survived through wit and resolve, not brute force. At his side, Lieutenant Ryan Carter paced with restless energy. They're broadcasting that surrender or burn speech on every known frequency. Classic warmonger drivel, Carter muttered, his sharp tone underscored with sarcasm. Logan didn't take the bait, his focus unwavering as he addressed the room. They'll underestimate us. That's their first mistake, and it'll be their last. The screen displayed Kyrian, the heavily forested alien world where the Empire had positioned their fleet. It was a world far from Earth, but critical to the Empire's supply chain, a place humanity had to strike first if they hoped to withstand the impending invasion. Snipers, Logan began, his voice commanding attention. This mission isn't about flashy assaults or drawn-out campaigns. We hit fast, we hit clean. No one sees us coming. We'll take Kyrian and leave them scrambling before they realize their mistake. The 12 men and women seated around him nodded, their expressions a mix of steely resolve and anticipation. They were a unit forged in fire, bound by the unspoken brotherhood of warriors who had seen too much, yet carried on. Ryan broke the tension with his trademark grin. So, Standard Tuesday? A ripple of quiet chuckles went through the team, but Logan's stern glance quickly silenced them. This isn't a joke, Carter. The lieutenant sobered, nodding. Understood, Captain. We'll make them pay for thinking we're weak. The Empire's fleet entered Kyrian's orbit with arrogance, befitting their reputation. Metallic dreadnoughts blanketed the skies, bristling with cannons capable of vaporizing continents. On the surface, Imperial forces deployed advanced walkers and scanning drones, establishing dominance over every inch of ground. General Kanos monitored the operation from his flagship, dismissing intelligence reports of human activity as laughable exaggerations. These creatures rely on guns. Let them try hiding in the jungle, they won't last a day, he scoffed to his second-in-command. Back on the surface, the jungle teemed with life, a cacophony of alien flora and fauna untouched by war. It was into this unforgiving terrain that Logan and his team would drop, silent phantoms prepared to dismantle the Empire's arrogance one shot at a time. As the snipers suited up aboard the stealth transport vessel, the gravity of the mission weighed on them. Carter double-checked his thermal scope while tossing casual remarks to the soldier beside him. Remember, Kevin, breathe in, then squeeze. No repeat of that Turkey Ridge fiasco. Carter. Logan interrupted sharply, his tone leaving no room for argument. Save it? Yes, sir, Ryan replied, falling into line but retaining a smirk. He admired Logan's unshakable focus, though he knew the captain's terse demeanor often masked the weariness of leadership. Their transport shuddered as it neared the drop zone. Logan stood and addressed his team one final time. This is what we trained for. We'll show them why humans are never prey. Trust your training, trust each other, and stay invisible. Dismissed. The team moved with military precision, each action a testament to their discipline and skill. The hatch opened, revealing the dense jungle below, its shifting canopy illuminated by moonlight. One by one, they slipped into the night, their movements silent and deliberate. Above the jungle of Kyrian, General Kanos reclined in his command chair, smug in his belief that humanity's defeat was inevitable. Send the patrols. Flush out anything that moves, he ordered lazily. Far below, hidden among the foliage, Logan Hayes settled into position, his rifle cradled like an extension of his own body. Through the scope, he scanned the enemy's encampments, already identifying patterns and weaknesses. The mighty Galactic Empire, Carter whispered over the comm, his voice laced with mockery. They don't even realize what's coming. Logan didn't reply. His finger hovered just above the trigger as he whispered to himself, they will. Patrol Alpha has gone silent. Send a recovery team. The voice crackled over General Kanos's command console. He dismissed it with a flick of his clawed hand, leaning back in his gilded throne aboard the Oblivion's wrath. Must I remind everyone this is a primitive species? One lost patrol isn't cause for alarm, he sneered, sipping from a crystalline chalice as his officers murmured their agreement. But far below, in the shadowy undergrowth of Kyrian's dense jungles, it wasn't a patrol that was missing. It was the beginning of an unraveling. Captain Logan Hayes observed through the scope of his suppressed sniper rifle, the thick alien canopy providing ample cover for his team. 50 yards ahead, an Empire scout squad crept cautiously along a dirt path, their luminescent visors scanning the jungle, oblivious to the hunters in the shadows. 3-man unit, standard diamond formation. Logan whispered over the comm. His voice was calm and measured, cutting through the humid night. Carter on my mark, take rear. I'll take point. Got a cap, Ryan, Carter replied, the hint of a grin in his voice. He loved this part, the calm before the storm. Logan exhaled steadily, his fingers squeezing the trigger with practiced ease. The point scout crumbled mid-step, a silent red bloom appearing on his chest. Less than a heartbeat later, Carter's shot dispatched the rear guard. The third alien spun in confusion, weapon raised, but Logan's second shot silenced him before he could react. The jungle consumed the noise as though nothing had happened. Targets neutralized, Logan reported. Jones, clear the bodies. Carter, reposition. The squad moved seamlessly, their actions rehearsed to the point of instinct. The Empire had the technology, but humans had something more dangerous: adaptability. By dawn, the snipers had eliminated 2 more patrols. The once complacent Empire forces were now uneasy, their radio chatter betraying rising paranoia. Soldiers fired blindly into the trees at imagined threats, their discipline cracking under pressure. Logan, this is almost too easy, Carter said over the comm as he scanned for their next target. I thought these guys were supposed to be elite. They're not used to being hunted, Logan replied curtly, shifting his position atop a jagged ridge overlooking the main supply road. Moments later, a column of armored transports rumbled into view, their escorts scanning nervously. Logan adjusted his scope and spoke quietly. Convoy spotted. Priority target. Commander, second transport. Through his sights, Logan saw the alien officer, a bulky Bravlex adorned in ornate gold plating, barking orders from the transport's turret. This one wouldn't get to finish his mission. The captain's voice came over the comm, "Fire on my signal. Hayes team, take the commander. Reyes team, disable rear vehicle to block retreat." "Copy that," came the steady replies. The silence stretched, broken only by the faint hum of the convoy. Then, with Logan's precise mark, chaos erupted. Logan's shot struck the commander through the visor, sending him toppling from the transport. At the same instant, an anti-material rifle from Reyes's position obliterated the rear vehicle, trapping the convoy on the narrow jungle trail. Panic swept through the remaining troops as the snipers picked them off methodically, each shot deliberate, each death a message. "They're scattering," Carter remarked as aliens abandoned the convoy to flee into the forest. "Rookie move. They'll wish they stayed," Logan said, his tone as cold as the jungle night. Back aboard the Oblivion's Wrath, reports of mounting casualties filled the war room. General Kanos's patience was thinning, his claws digging into the armrest of his throne. "What am I hearing?" he bellowed, eyes blazing as he turned to his officers. "How does a handful of primitives cause this much damage?" "Sir, their tactics, they're highly irregular. Our sensors are unable to detect them, and every team we send out," the officer hesitated under Kanos's glare, "they vanish." Kanos rose, towering over his subordinates. "Flood the forest. Scanners, drones, firebombs. Leave nothing alive." As the Empire unleashed their aerial drones and incendiary assaults, the snipers adapted. Using the terrain to their advantage, they lured alien forces into ambushes, weaving traps that turned the jungle itself into a weapon. Tripwire mines exploded with surgical precision, taking out pursuing soldiers and walkers alike. "Drone, 10 o'clock high," Carter warned as a sleek, whirring machine zipped overhead. "Down," Logan ordered. The team pressed flat into the undergrowth, camouflaged so well that even the drone's advanced optics couldn't detect them. As it passed, Logan signaled for Carter, who raised a specialized rifle and fired. The EMP slug hit true, sending the drone crashing into the dirt. Carter grinned, and they said humans were low-tech. The alien troops, already stretched thin by losses and exhaustion, began turning on one another. Paranoia bred whispers of ghosts in the jungle, of foes that couldn't be seen or fought. Morale collapsed faster than any strategic assault could achieve. By nightfall, Logan's squad stood silently over a pile of scavenged supplies, their success measured not in boasts, but in unspoken respect for their craft. "Status update, Hayes," came a voice from command. Logan responded, his voice as steady as his aim. "We own their supply line." "Orders? Hold your position," the commander replied. "We'll hit their main camp soon." Logan lowered his rifle and surveyed the dense jungle ahead. Somewhere, General Kanos still believed he controlled this world. He would soon learn the cost of arrogance. Logan's lips pressed into a thin line as he gave the next order. "Carter, prep for the next strike. They're still breathing, and that's unacceptable." The dense jungle opened into a broad clearing as Captain Logan Hayes and his team neared the Empire's command outpost. From their vantage point atop a sheer ridge, they could see the fortified encampment sprawled below, a mass of energy shields, turrets, and troops. Lights from the base cut through the night, casting long shadows on the jungle's edge. "It's a fortress," Ryan Carter muttered, crouching beside Logan. "Fortresses have weak points," Logan replied, his voice low but firm. Through his binoculars, he studied the encampment. and we've been softening theirs for days. The team moved with surgical precision, each step calculated to avoid detection. The jungle's thick undergrowth swallowed their movements, their camouflage blending seamlessly with the terrain. General Kanos had fortified the command center, the bulk of his remaining forces concentrated around his position. He wasn't just defending, he was making a final stand, a show of strength to reassert control. But Logan knew better. It was desperation masquerading as power. As they drew closer, Logan signaled for a halt. Reyes, lay the charges on the western supply depot. Carter, cover him from the north ridge. I'll take the eastern side. And when the party starts? Carter asked, a slight smirk playing on his lips. Logan's eyes narrowed, his voice unyielding. We go for the head. Kanos doesn't leave this jungle alive. The explosion was thunderous, lighting up the night as the Empire's supply depot disintegrated in a plume of fire. Alarm klaxons blared, throwing the camp into chaos. Logan's team capitalized on the confusion, striking key targets with unparalleled precision. Turrets went silent as EMP grenades fried their circuits. Snipers picked off officers, turning the once disciplined troops into disorganized masses. Carter, suppress fire from the barracks, Logan ordered, his voice steady even amidst the chaos. On it, Cap, Carter replied, dropping 2 alien soldiers before they could man a plasma cannon. Logan advanced through the eastern flank, weaving between shadows and wreckage. The Empire's defenses were crumbling, their famed technology useless against human ingenuity and persistence. As the battle outside the camp raged, Logan infiltrated the heart of the base. Each step brought him closer to the command center, his rifle raised and ready. The alien soldiers he encountered barely had time to react before dropping silently to the ground. Inside the command bunker, General Kanos was a stark contrast to the calculated warrior he presented earlier. His eyes burned with frustration as he barked orders at his officers. Hold your positions. These creatures are nothing but savages, he roared, slamming a clawed hand on the command table. Logan, hidden in the shadows, took a moment to observe his target. Kanos was larger than the typical Bravlek soldier, his armor more ornate, and his aura radiating authority. Yet Logan could see the cracks, small hesitations, a flicker of uncertainty in his movements. Quietly, Logan lined up his shot through the bunker's viewing slit, his finger resting on the trigger. But something made him pause. This wasn't just a soldier, it was the architect of this entire war, the one responsible for every death on both sides. Logan made his decision. The man needed to see his defeat. With a deafening crash, Logan breached the command room, his rifle leveled at Kanos. The alien guards lunged, but precise shots from Logan's sidearm ended their advances before they reached him. Kanos turned slowly, his eyes locking on the human before him. For the first time, the Bravlek's general faltered. You, he growled, venom dripping from the single word. Logan didn't lower his weapon. You made the mistake of thinking this was your war to win. His voice was calm, but his tone carried the weight of weeks of frustration and loss. You're finished, Kanos. Your empire doesn't hold this ground anymore. Kanos laughed bitterly, the sound hollow in the stark room. You think this changes anything? Another general will rise. The Empire doesn't falter. Logan stepped closer, his weapon unflinching. Maybe, but you won't live to see it. Before Kanos could respond, Logan fired. A single shot that pierced the alien's chest plate. The general collapsed to his knees. His breath labored as blood pooled beneath him. You could have been great allies. Kanos rasped, his strength waning. Logan stared down at him, his expression unreadable. You chose war. Now you deal with the consequences. Kanos's lifeless body slumped forward, marking the end of his campaign. Outside, the battle was already decided. With their command structure obliterated, the remaining Empire forces either surrendered or fled into the jungle, where death awaited them in the darkness. Logan regrouped with his team at the base's perimeter. Carter grinned as he approached. "Took you long enough, Cap. We thought you got lost in there." "Mission accomplished," Logan replied curtly. His tone softened as he added, "Good work out there, everyone. Let's head back to extraction." As they disappeared into the jungle, the faint glow of the destroyed camp behind them, one truth remained. The Empire would remember this day as the beginning of their end, a lesson carved into their history by human resolve. The war was not over yet, but one thing was clear: humanity was not to be underestimated.